Welcome to The Marketer's Exit, the podcast for marketers curious about freelancing, starting a side hustle, or exploring what life could look like beyond the 9-to-5. I'm Tas Bober. I left the in-house marketing world to build a landing page consultancy, and now I work 3 days a week while making the same and sometimes more than I did in my full-time job.
And I'm Tim Davidson. I stepped out of the agency grind to start my own LinkedIn ads consultancy. More flexibility, better work-life balance, and plenty of time to sip cocktails on a beach. Just kidding, I live nowhere near a beach, but it's still way, way better. We come from different sides of the marketing world. Me from agency, Tas from in-house, but we both got out.
And now we're pulling back the curtain on what it's really like to go solo. The smooth parts, the scary parts, and the stuff that no one puts in the LinkedIn posts and only in the group chat.
If you're thinking about freelancing, building a side hustle, or just curious what life looks like on the other side, this is your front row seat.
Welcome to The Marketer's Exit. It's the real stuff.
It's the real stuff. We still haven't launched this. It's Jan 7th. We're like, 12 episodes in? But we have it's a good docket. This is evergreen content. So we're going to be good. We're good.
It's completely fine.
Yeah, completely fine. Okay, but today, very exciting topic.
I'm actually very excited about this one. Like really, really excited.
Me too.
I love telling my story.
And it's funny because you jumped headfirst into this one, but I was a little more cautious walking into the water with this one. And today we are talking about
external resources, VAs, freelancers, copyright, whatever that external resource is, the 1099-ish company, not the full-time
employee.
No one wants that. That's lame.
So most people think that when you go solo, the very next step is you're going to hire. You don't have to hire full-time. That is like the big misconception. And you and I are just riding that 1099 contractor kind of gravy train, which is nice. At least in my case, it's nice because I feel like I'm not fully responsible for someone else's income. In your case, though, they are full-time VAs that you have, so they kind of do depend on you.
Yeah, but there's less, I don't have to worry about insurance. Like there's less legal stuff. And I don't even think they can do full-time from where they are anyway. So I don't even think that's legal anyway.
We'll get into this, but I want to know maybe if they have other streams of income too, your VAs.
They do, actually. I do know
that. Ooh, okay, let's get into it. Okay, so your VA is baller.
One.
But you have two.
Yeah.
Your VAs. But let's tell the people your story into one, what made you even think of it? How did you even hear of it happening? Because I heard it from you. So it wasn't even a thought in my mind until you had planted the seed. And then you not only dove, you dove head in, all feet, full body.
Sort of.
I mean, you were like gung-ho about it.
Yeah.
And I was a little more cautious. So tell them that and then walk everyone through why you thought you then ended up needing two VAs. Two.
Okay.
Let's go.
So funny enough, my journey actually starts now it's 13 years ago. In 2013, I read the book 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And he talks about VAs in that world. And he talks about hiring a virtual assistant and all this stuff around it. Back then, I'm just out of I'm still in college at the point. So I'm not hiring a VA, but it planted the seed. And I did end up hiring one probably in 2021 for 4 weeks, not knowing what I was doing. And it was terrible. So besides that, the when I really, really dove into it, it was about 2 months into my business. So started the business and things were going well. I was having all those sales calls and doing all those things. And the thing that would come up was invoicing. This is what triggered it, is every month I'd have to send invoices and I just hated that. I would wait on it for 2 weeks and then send an invoice. Even though it was supposed to come out monthly, first week of the month type of thing. Now they come out, the first or second. It's just, it was just something that I just did not want to do. So I was like, how can I figure out an option? What do I have to do here to figure this out? And there's no good automated way. So that's when I started to say, okay, I'm going to hire a virtual assistant, just kind of really dive into it. I told myself I'm going to give myself 3 months to see if it would make sense. Now, the thing about that is you have to when I was doing it, I would ask around a little bit, but not many people gave me best options. They'd be like, oh yeah, I found mine from a friend or something like that. So that's wasn't helpful for me. So I ended up doing a bunch of research on agencies and talking to a bunch of VA agencies because there's tons of them out there. And the reason I went that route is because like everyone else, I was scared about what if because you hear about the horror stories. What if someone have to give them my information and what if they just screw me over? What if they steal money from me? What if they leak that information to someone? You don't know these people. So there's just kind of like this worrisome there. So if you go through a VA agency, they like take care of that stuff. The help there. That's what the beauty of an agency. And if like they don't work out. So basically looked at a bunch of VA agencies, found one where I could start off with 20 hours a week. So I got this VA for 20 hours a week. The reason I really liked it because I could tell them what I wanted. So basically, I told them I've never worked with a VA that much. I need someone that's going to be able to help me, like push me to like offload stuff. I told them like the softwares I'm using, what my business is, the CRMs that my clients are in, like everything that was around my business, because the agency would go out and find someone that was kind of similar to that. Now, the agency I used, it's called Magic VA. I'm just going to do it. It's called Magic VA. There's a bunch of other options there. I have like a whole Notion doc that we could probably link to this episode of like the other ones I looked at and the pricing. But it was 20 hours a week, $15 an hour. And so I started off with that. And I like them because they can get me someone in like 3 days like that I can meet. And there's like a whole process, right? Like you meet them and you kind of vet them, you ask them the questions, and then you like say yes or no. And then if you say no, obviously you find someone else. But found this person. We're going to call this person G. Don't know why. We're just going to call him G. Don't want to say the name because I like my VA and I don't want anyone to steal. But G is a G. She is really good. Her background was amazing. Like she managed hotel, like teams in hotels and stuff like that. She made me really like having a VA. So I started offboarding as much as I can. Like I didn't start off with like bank. I did not do anything with like bank accounts. Like she did do invoicing, but I didn't start off with like bank accounts or anything like that. I used LastPass for like password management, so they don't even actually see it. But I started off with this person, 20 hours a week, went really, really well. 2 months into that, I was offloading as much as I can. And then I got to the point where I was like, this person's $15 an hour. VAs, if you think about it, that's kind of on the high end. Most people are like, oh, this person's out of the Philippines or some other country, it's gonna be like $5, $7. So I was like, instead of bumping up her hours, what if, because at the time she also had other clients, so she couldn't do that. But the idea was, all right, what if we found another person that was a little bit less experienced, didn't manage, hotel teams, and that'd be cheaper. So I started doing a little bit more research on that, and I ended up asking my VA, or she actually saw me that I was having these meetings, and she was like, I actually know someone that's a little bit less experienced, and they're $5.50 an hour. I was like, all right, and I didn't even vet this person. I just said, all right, let's do it. Like I just didn't care, because at the very least I could just let him go. Person came in. The beauty of this is I set it up so the G could manage C, who's the other VA. The lower, yeah, the $5.50 an hour C. And C started off at $20 hours a week as well. And so while G was training C, I didn't really have to deal with all that kind of like inexperienced part. I still went through G for the most part. I still talked to C, but it was just more of like, that was the kind of hierarchy. And, she was really good at like task management, but it wasn't like proactive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, over time, I've worked with both of them now for almost 2 years, and it's evolved to both of them are now at 40 hours a week. Prices have changed, but yeah, C is at $7 an hour. G is at $15 an hour still. But the reason she didn't get a bump in pay is because probably, when was this? Like 9 months working with her. She was like, we basically came to the decision where like, if I leave the VA agency, can I just work for you directly? I trusted her at this point. And the reason the price didn't go up is because VA agencies obviously take a cut. So she actually makes more now working with me. So that kind of whole situation worked out well. I mean, obviously new contracts were made up, and maybe we'll add a template of what that looks like. But it obviously has like, all the things that you would add in a contract. I've come to learn I am a little bit lenient or not lenient, generous. Even though they're not full-time employees, they do get sick pay and holidays off and bonuses and all these things, because I'd rather, I don't want to just kind of churn VAs either. Ideally, they'll stay with me for a long time because they know a lot of the business now, and they've learned a lot of what I need and don't need and how I work. Now, something to note here is in those 2 years, I've only had one Zoom meeting with both of them. One, the V agencies will try to push like, hey, do you want weekly meetings? Do you want all these check-ins? Not doing it. Didn't care. I'm all Slack. It's all Slack and email communication. I've only met with them on a Zoom call once formally. Sometimes it's like a 2 minute, like, hey, can we talk through something? There's that. But a lot of it is just Slack communication, emails, and Loom videos and things like that. So now I'm at the point where I got two full-time VAs, 40 hours a week each. We have another VA sort of, who's just a project based.
Okay.
So if I have something where the VAs are too busy and there's like a project that they can do, this person doesn't have access to a lot of things, but if it's a project that they can get access to through like some of the emails that we have set up, they'll do that as like an external thing. They're not like, again, it's project based and they're like, it's like I think it's $5.50 an hour, $5 an hour actually. And it's just like project based type of things.
And where did you find this person?
This person I found from G as well.
Wow.
She's G.
She is the G.
Yeah. But I'm very, very happy with the whole setup. I know a lot of people don't have, and we obviously will go down the route here. We'll talk about your experience and then we'll kind of go into some nuances here, but they do a lot of business and personal stuff. I cannot explain how helpful this has been one of the most eye-opening things as like the business owner for me. Most helpful as well.
Which we will get into because once I share my journey, which was not as positive or as fruitful as yours, especially at the beginning. And then we'll go into
a boss thing, by the way.
Shut up. But the first thing, but we will also go through what they're doing for you, why your VAs are so busy, because mine is not as busy, and we'll talk about that too, and the reason why, right? Which is a new goal of mine in 2026. And we're also gonna talk about, like, okay, you're out on your own. At what point do you need one? Because the investment's not that much. So it's very easy for you to be like, I'm just going to jump in and get one. You may not need one right away. It's one of those things where like, you got to do some shit first and see what part is annoying and what you need to hire for. What they're even capable of doing. Do you even need one with AI? How do you prep for them to make sure that you're having the best experience? And then where do you go to get one? You already mentioned Magic. I actually have an agency that I liked better, but the only reason I went with Magic is because Magic was fast. They were like 3 days, you're going to get a VA.
Some are like 20 days. I couldn't handle that.
Yes.
I'm too impatient.
And I didn't know if it was going to work and all of those things. So it kind of scared me off, but I did like their process better because it felt more of like a job description. And then, we'll talk about pricing. You already mentioned holidays, things like that, bonusing, how do you handle that? Okay. So my experience was a little bit different. So you planted the seed with me. And I was like, well, do I really need that? What do I need it for? And at the time, I was doing a lot of like fractional stuff. So there was a lot of scope creep on top of admin stuff, on top of, So I was like, shit, okay, maybe I do need one to help me. And you told me about LastPass as well, because I have trust issues, which was probably the thing that inhibited me the most with my VA, my first one, and my second one too. But hopefully that changes. So my first thing, I went through Magic because I was like, I'm not doing all this research. I'm scared. You had an experience in Magic, fine. And so I worked with them. They matched me with someone, and that was the only call I ever had with her, was that intro call that they set up. Liked her, everything was fine. She seemed really nice. And, obviously now you're not paying for someone who's like a 200K employee, right? So you can't treat the situation the same way. So it started with small things, but then the small things weren't going right for me. And sometimes it's like, she wasn't as responsive. We're going to call her D. my first one is D. And she was very nice, talked a lot, oversharer, those things. So like personally, we connected. That was fine. But there was like, in terms of performance, lacking. I'm still trying to do the 3 days a week. But at that point, I was drowning. And I'm like, if you're not helping me, I'm just shelling all this money and, it's just not working. So I really wanted to give it a shot because you had such high praise with your situation, but it just wasn't going well. And then I finally let it loose in our group chat with Kaylee and you. And I was like, what do I do? And you're like, just talk to Magic and get a different person, or see if you can get a different person. Similar to similar to your VA, my VA saw it on the calendar that I was having these meetings, and she sent me a message saying, "Hey, are you looking for someone new?" And I said, "Yeah, I should have had a conversation with you. I just need someone with a little more on the marketing side of thing, not really admin, because I'm not giving you a lot of trust to do the admin stuff." So that's kind of like what I was looking for. Anyway, so she was upset, probably gone. Then I have Rhoda, who joined me. We've been working together now for a year, actually over a year, because last Christmas I gave her a bonus and stuff. I still remember that. So about a year and a half. She's already leaps and bounds better. My biggest thing is, one, I don't even have time sometimes to assign her work. Two, she is so fast with the work that I'll give her something and feel really good about it. And she's already done with it in like a couple hours. So I feel like she does a lot of hurry up and waiting with me, because I'll give her
Mm.
a task and then she has to like work on it really fast or something for a client. And then, she backs off and then she's waiting. But I work 3 days a week. So Mondays and Fridays, she almost never hears from me, or she knows I'm not doing anything. I hired her part time through Magic. After we worked together for about 6 months, I asked her, because you planted the seed that your VAs were leaving the agency and just going direct with you. And I was like, oh, I wonder if we could do something like that and just be more flexible with the hours and things like that. So I just casually asked her, I was like, hey, by the way, how much does the agency take off the top? Because they didn't do anything other than introduce us, and the payment happens through their portal. That is it. I don't use their portal for anything else, right? So that is literally just, I introduced you guys and therefore I'm taking this commission. And it's actually almost half. So that's like a big consideration. So I was paying 15 an hour for 20 hours a week. Only about 6 or 7 of that went to the VA, which like is sad for them, right? It's basically like taking advantage of labor, I feel like.
I've actually gone down the rabbit hole here because when I learned about it, I was like, I'm just so curious. So I found like a Facebook group and I asked, and the half is actually good. Like usually they take more. Like so if
Wow.
someone makes 50, if someone's charging 15, a lot of the agencies will take 10.
Insane.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just it's like anything. Agencies don't pay their employees like a marketing
Yeah.
agency. They're not going to pay their employees what the client pays. There's overhead, all
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I guess, but it just doesn't even seem like a fair wage, even with the conversion, you know? So, so once that happened, I was like, okay, I was the one who suggested to her, hey, what if we work together outside of our arrangement? She was new to the VA agency world. This was her first
Mm.
experience, and she already wasn't liking it. So she was like, I'm giving them a commission. They said they were going to match me with people. She used to work somewhere else, and I was the only one that they matched her with someone else who was like terrible to her. And she had me at the same time. You had told me one of the flags to watch out for is if they don't have other clients. So she was matched up with 2 of us at the same time, but the other person was like horrible to her. So she ended up leaving, and I said, okay, work for me part time. You can still, she had clients outside of the VA agency that she was doing
Mm.
like social media work for and things like that. So she has other sources of income. And so yeah, we made an arrangement then outside of that. I pay her more than what the VA agency was paying her, not 15, a little bit less, but she was like, I'm just fine not going through them. Maybe eventually if she does more for me, I'll give her more. But like I feel like for what she does a lot of waiting around, so I feel like it's a pretty fair income for like, and I make sure it's stable too. So instead of just
Mm.
paying her for the hours that she's worked, because some weeks she'll work the full 20, some weeks it's like 10, some weeks it's 2. I pay her regardless. So she gets a paycheck every week from me. She has, kids, like she has life plans and stuff. I do that. I do pay her. Like if it's a holiday here, especially, I'm like, take the day off. But I don't tell her in advance, really. It's like sometimes, like the day comes, I was like, oh, fuck. Well, like Christmas and stuff, I'm like, hey, I'm not working next week, or I'm on vacation, whatever, just take the week off. But because of that, she's very like, no matter what, you can call me anytime and I will
It's
do
nice.
anything, to like help and be happy. So she's worked way different hours too when I have needed her, because she does get a lot of downtime and I am a source of stable income for her. And obviously I bonus her and stuff during the holidays. So, just like anything else, treat them like human beings.
Is
So
it mostly business stuff or do you do personal as well?
okay, so now we can get into the part of like what we're using them for. One of the things when you had said you should definitely get a VA, but you didn't give me much more than that. You're like, they can do everything
Just do
for you.
it. Just do
Yeah,
it.
just do it. As per just how Tim does everything. Just do it.
Do
Yeah,
it.
fuck
Just
it.
trust me.
Let's do it. Yeah, he always tells me. But I'm a little more, I take a little longer to make decisions like that. So what I did was I listened to a couple of podcast episodes of people who had hired VAs, and like there's a CEO that has like 10 of them or something. It's something insane. And one of the suggestions he had, which was great, and I recommend anyone if you're at the point where you feel like, okay, I have stable business, maybe you're like 6 months into your business, your stable business, and you're like, okay, I can offload some of this admin stuff. The first thing is just record everything. So I documented everything that I did. I'm on a walk and I'm like, oh, I have to call the dentist. Oh, that's something a VA could do. So I had this notes in my notes app. I just had a note thing of like, here are the things that I'm having to do during the week. Could I delegate? Would I feel comfortable delegating this to someone? Yes. So then I just put that in this book, whether it was like business, personal, whatever it was, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I can definitely do that, do that. So the list got quite long actually. And I was like, okay, I feel like there's enough here, even without me giving full access to stuff that a VA could do for me. So I did that. The second thing that I did was like I recorded on my screen. I recorded like a fuck ton of looms. Anytime I was doing something, I would just record the loom and I put it in this like folder within Loom that was like workflows or processes or something and put everything in there, like how I do my builds, how I do my blah, 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 whatever I needed her to do. I did, I put all of that. And this was all before I even hired someone to help with the onboarding. So that's where like my type A went full freaking gear. So that's how I started. But you have two full time 40-hour a week. I want to know what you have them doing. And then if you are anything like me with trust issues, I can tell you my list of things that I have my VA do without having access to anything like my social, my email, or, my bank accounts and stuff like that. She doesn't even have access to my invoicing. So we'll do what Tim's list is, and then we'll do the untrustworthy version, which is mine. Although that might change a little bit in 2026. And we'll talk about that too. What's changing?
Yeah. So the just a note on the trustworthiness, I guess. Obviously, I didn't just go full board on, first week. Oh, here's access to everything. It did take, a couple months for them to get access to things, but there is so many processes you can set up, whether it's LastPass where, so if you don't know, like if you set up a password thing like that, you can set it up and give them access where they can see the username, but they can't see the password. They can still log in because they log in with their LastPass. I'm just using that as an example. LastPass, and then it blurs out the password. So even if so, like let's just say they're done, like you're done with them, you just take them off the account, and they're not gonna be able to see anything. It's all gone, right? Like so, there is stuff like that where you can set it up so that it can't do it much. Even in banking stuff, like you can set up limits on how much before you get alerted, or you still need to get like a code. So there's things you can set up to safeguard it. But I still understand like even if
Yes.
they're in your email, they're in your LinkedIn, like they can still send a DM to someone and make it weird. There's
Yeah.
that stuff too. Like I get that.
I'll make it.
But yeah, so two 40-hour a week VAs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of one-off stuff that's hard to kind of put in a list because it just kind of depends on like my brain, like what's going on that day. But just like some examples, like some stuff. So client reporting. So they might not doing the full reporting, but if you're ever worked in LinkedIn ads and CRMs, you know how much of that just doesn't work automatically. There's nuances to everything. You have to pull a list from this, and you have to kind of match it together and like take screenshots of certain things based off the dates and all that. The reporting one has saved me so much time and headache. So basically I have it set up so like they know when the reports are due. They do what they can. And this all comes back to like I did a bunch of Loom videos. Anytime I was doing it, I would record Loom videos and make notes, and we have these SOP docs and all these things in a Notion, a huge like Notion page or Notion like setup, so they know what to do. And let me be clear, the first one sucked. They were terrible at
Mm,
it. But what I did, so if you're already doing it, I would just do it while they do it. So in a different doc, right? So like I would, that way I wasn't screwed when the actual kind of client call came. I would still have mine, but I could look over theirs and make and give feedback. So like that feedback loop was so important
mm,
because after, a month, a few times doing it, they gotten so much better at it. Now they can't do everything. There's nuances that I know that they will never know. They just can't. And but the data pulling, the things that like from different platforms, so like that's been so helpful. Email management, I mean, this this is something that you'll work on over time. Like, what should they flag for you? What should they automatically unsub? What should they unsubscribe for? I have this label system that's crazy that they set up that I love. So like everything kind of has a label and goes to certain different places. But also like how you get like an email that just like you unsubscribe from, or you filter it and just doesn't, you still get them. I
yeah.
have a label that's called unsub forever. And the process is if you see that, you need to unsubscribe from it. You need to make it 3 different filters based off of that email, based off of the thing right there. You have to go to their website and make sure you have to like do every single thing you can to get unsubscribed from. It's just like a weird thing for me.
Okay.
LinkedIn DM management, they don't really respond, but basically they'll flag me for certain things and they'll get rid of things that are clearly like, hey, Tim, I saw you were a CEO at blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff is just goes to
Yeah.
archive. Travel stuff has been huge. Basically, I have it, they know where I'm like what hotels or Airbnbs I like. They know my process that I like to fly early, that I like to all that stuff. And they give me 3 options for here's the flights, here's 3 options, top 3 to 4 options for the hotel or Airbnb. I pick one, they set it up, done. That saved me
Wow.
so much time. There's still me that goes in there and kind of tinkers, but it does give me some help there.
Okay.
Finance stuff. So like invoicing, my accounting needs a certain report every month from my bank because they just don't integrate with it. All that stuff automated, like anything that was like,
Wait, so your VAs do have access to your
oh
bank?
yeah,
Wow.
with no, but here's the thing with there's limits.
Okay.
So they can't send money.
Okay.
They can't like extract, like they can't take money out, but they can see it so they can for the invoicing part. So they can
Okay.
match like, oh, someone paid, but it matches in the invoicing software.
Okay.
But they can send invoices, but it's not like they can take money. But they know
Are
my
your
bank accounts.
invoices through something like QuickBooks or directly from
Wave
your
app,
bank?
Wave app.
Okay. Do you pay for Wave app? Side
Yeah,
question.
it's like very cheap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my bank does the invoicing. And so I use my bank's invoicing to invoice my clients. She would be able to take that on for me, but it's tied to my bank.
Gotcha.
So that's the only part where I'm like, okay, maybe this year I'll move the invoicing out of my bank and
Mhm.
then she could take that on for me because I would be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean that helped. Just I was something I was doing every single month. Like I just didn't need to do that. So they do it. It's very fast. They say, all right, this is the ones that are gonna be sent. I approve. Boom, done. Onboarding clients, like we have a whole onboarding client. So there's an onboarding email. There's like here's the accesses
Mm,
we need. All that stuff. They get the email. They see the things I've signed, the signature stuff. They take care of that. Podcast and show management. We have
yes.
2 podcasts, so like that process behind that, all done. This is very specific to my business, but like client pacing, so they can see how much they spent, and then they can alert me in Slack, something that is above or below. I mentioned like there's monthly payroll stuff I have to do that I have to pay myself, and I have to like approve it. You could not pay me to go in there and approve it every month. Just couldn't do it. They'll do it. Meeting prep, product management stuff, a lot of one-off stuff, personal. There's like calling the dentist. There was a point where I had to look at all these daycares. You could not pay me to call these daycares. No shot. Scheduling like unscheduling dentists stuff or like canceling on dentists all the time. Constant research, email stuff. I mean, there's so many things. I'm going to Scotland in next month. They planned all that travel. You know how much time that saves? So
I feel like I wouldn't trust the travel thing.
again,
Like
it's iterations, right? Like
small
the
things
first
over
one,
time.
the first one, I gave them like my guidelines, I
Yeah.
guess. Like I like these hotels or I have points for these and stuff. Like they know all that
Mm,
stuff. They gave me a doc actually, and they asked like, "What's your preferences? Do you need a pool in your hotel if you're gonna do a hotel? Do you need a gym? Like all that stuff." So here's
okay.
my preferences. First one, did I like them all? No, I still fact checked it all. And then over time, you give them that feedback and they'll get better,
Okay. Okay.
right?
So
You just get options.
I need to be patient and give her a shot and then give her feedback so that she can get better.
Yes. And
Okay.
there's one thing I want to note that has been a game changer for me because I'm sure you're like this too, like the reporting I mentioned. 100% takes my VA 3 to 4 times longer than it would me.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
It might take me 2 hours, takes them, let's just say 6 hours.
Yeah.
But that 2 hours can be spent doing other things.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, I have to pay them for 6 hours. I get it. But the mental, like the things that,
Load.
you know
Uh-huh.
how much I hate taking CSVs from 3 different platforms and combining them together and looking for these certain things and formatting this Excel sheet and all that stuff. I hate that so
Yeah.
much. I don't need to do it
Yeah.
because it's a process.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand it takes them longer, but
Yeah.
it's going to save me that 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever it is. I don't care. It's so much better.
Yeah. Okay. We actually do have a lot of overlap because a lot of this does not really require,
Right.
like access to a lot of things. I've gotten better about delegating to her. And I told you this year was the first year where I actually felt like I worked 3 days a week. And, she was also obviously a part of that. So I also have it divvied up by business and personal. For me, I don't have, like, she doesn't have access to my banks, none of that. So we'll go through my list, which is the non-trustworthy list. Although now I've worked with her for over a year, I feel like I know her a little bit better. I can trust her with more things. I just need to do some more setup and afford her that trust, right? But I don't
Mhm.
like I know her well enough now. Okay, so on the business side of things, she does not have access to my LinkedIn, which I am going to change this year for the same thing. She doesn't have to respond to anything or whatever, but I do get a lot of DMs and they get lost in there. And then I feel like I don't respond to the ones that I need to respond to because I'll say, oh, it's later, but then it just gets pushed down and I never see it again. So I'm gonna give her, LinkedIn access so she can manage my DMs for me, that kind of stuff. That's like one. From the social media aspect too, you and I have discussed now we have the two podcasts. Your VAs post clips on those podcasts and then making sure that between the three of them, they are like responding, reacting to anyone who tags our podcasts and their stuff because we may not see it because we're not in those accounts to always see it or get notified. So making sure that the VAs are like, actively checking those accounts, especially as maybe they get bigger, we start getting messages about it directly to the podcast pages. You 100% we are not seeing those.
Never checked one in my life.
Yeah, not checked a single one. Okay, so from the social aspect there, what she also does, because I hate LinkedIn's reporting on
Mhm.
posts and post metrics. And we discovered on Notorious B2B that they are not one to one. Post metrics are not the same as the metrics when you hit export. LinkedIn will also punish you if you hook up any other tools. So, one of the first things I had her do was go through every time I post, she collects it, she puts it in this Excel sheet with a link to the post, my post metrics, yada, yada. Once I give her access to my LinkedIn, she'll be able to get me the impression count for some of these posts as well and be able to put those in there, and I don't have to. Now, just having her do that every week, she takes those posts, she puts it in this document for my social performance, but she also puts it in the resource hub, which is what I give to like 4,000 marketers, whatever. She updates my resource hub. That's one of the first tasks. And just having her do that, I was able to, during our annual review, upload that data and do some analysis on. I posted, 40% less last year than I did the year before. And this was based on, all the rows of data that she had collected. The total impression count, the engagements, like I was able to look at, okay, when I do this kind of post, how does that correlate to like my leads and stuff? So like those analysis I was able to do because she did the data entry and the data pulling of that. Other business stuff, like I have a phone bill reminder that I need to upload for my accountant every month. That's one. Bank statements and stuff, I usually pull those. She puts it in a folder, and gives it to them. And then also all my form reporting, all the reporting from HubSpot and stuff, she pulls those out. She puts that in there. And then also, I have a list of all my VA tasks, just like you. So she collects my metrics, prepares my bills for bookkeeping. She Could. I don't have her doing this yet, but this year I will also give her access to my email. So
Mm.
do you use the delegate function or like whatever? You can add them as a user or like they straight up use your password and go into your email.
They use my password and email because they also, I don't know if this would help with the delegate thing, but they also, like, I forgot to mention calendar management. Like, yes, most of it's automated, but they sync all my multiple emails and all that stuff. So like, I don't know if that delegate helps it, but I just use password and email. Again, through LastPass, they don't have my actual password.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter. They can still they just copy it. They have access to LastPass. They just copy it and sign in anywhere, anytime,
That's not how
right?
LastPass, I don't think you know how LastPass
Okay,
works.
I need to
You
look into
can't just copy it
LastPass.
because it's just like all blurred. There's no like, it's not just like the
Okay,
dots. Yes, it's the dots, but it's just like gray. Like there's
okay.
no, and it's also the login for a lot of things. So like it's
Yes, I
good
know.
for them to have access to.
Okay. All right. So she does do the creating contracts, sending them for signatures. She does all of that for me. She could do the post discovery follow ups too, but sometimes there's nuances that I send in those. Any uploading of videos to YouTube, she has done like light video clipping for me for like social content. One thing I've discovered with Rhoda specifically is she's really good at creating like stuff for my website. It's like a random thing. She never told me that she was good at it, whatever. But anytime I've given her a website task, she's done it and she's done it really well. Like I've not had to do the iteration thing. She's just done it really well. So I'm like, do you want to do more of that this year? Because I want her to start putting a lot more content on there, blah, 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 or whatever.
Sorry, what do
Okay.
you mean? Like
Like,
she does website stuff is like design or like what are you talking about?
well, sometimes it's design stuff. If I see something that's funky on the site and I want her to change it, like she does it. She doesn't even have to hit up the dev or designer. She's like pretty decent. I'm like, hey, this image looks weird. She like randomly will fix it. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't
With
have to
like
tell her.
Canva?
Just resizing, things like that. Like sometimes it is within the HTML like part of it. So like she will adjust those. And then I've given her content to upload on the website and stuff, like with the blog formatting and stuff. And Webflow is not like you can just log in and suddenly you know how to use it. It's not very intuitive that way. But for some reason, she's just been decent at it. And I haven't had to give her a lot of like feedback with that one. So I want her to do more website stuff for me this year. Yeah, she's downloaded a lot of templates for me. I think another thing, if she does have access to LinkedIn, is to just like find more people in my niche and like add them and do really well, like managing my connections and that kind of
Mm.
stuff too. And then she's really good at helping me with my clients. We have a good system going. So I'm like, hey, I got a new client. She helps me with the signatures, but she does the things like creating the workspace for them in Figma. So she'll clone an existing workspace, she'll set it all up for me. She'll go research and grab testimonials because I use those as part of my research portion. And then I create the business cases. She like will take the text of the business cases and put it into the workspace for me, which is a huge, that alone is like a big save for me that she's like putting all that stuff in Figma for me. Like that would take me so much time. So then I can just go in and like make my edits, but she does, most of the inputs for me there. And then she does competitive research if I need her to do that. I need her to do more like kickoff emails and follow up emails, but once I give her access to my Gmail, she'll be able to do that more. Now, as a mom of two who has very limited time to work, but also has a lot going on in my personal life, she's a huge help there. So she did like my birthday party invites for both my kids. Both my kids are born in July. She like did the birthday party invites there. She's done like birthday gift research for like my husband and me and things like that, setting appointments, doctors, dentists. If there's an issue with like, she called the IRS for me once. I was like,
IRS.
yeah, I was like, I can't fucking, I'm like, I don't know what this is. Can you please call them and figure out and make sure that I'm actually registered as an S Corp and blah, blah, blah. She called, she stayed on the line with them for 4 hours. 4 hours she was on the phone. And then they called her back the next day. She went through the whole thing. It took her a whole week that it would have taken me because it's the IRS. And they called her and they were like, yeah, hey, yeah, confirming you're registered S Corp. That's it. That's the only question I had because I had to convert the business. And she did all of those for me. Travel, I've done it here and there. I'm too much of a control freak, but maybe I'll try with Above the Fold now that I have some time and see whether she can do it now that we have some time and I can look at it. I have this annual calendar that I started with the parents fucking worst task ever. I started as a gift where I put pictures of the kids for the year, give it as a gift to the parents every year. Now they expect it every year. It's a process. I have to go through all my pictures over the course of the year and pick. So now I pick it. There's a template. She can go in there, upload, order from fucking Walgreens or Snapfish or whatever. Be gone. Done. So she can help me. She didn't help me with it this year, but next year for sure. Getting estimates and then doing like CPAs. She reached out to all of the ones
Yeah.
locally for me.
Yeah.
She got estimates for like a bunch of stuff. And then my PTA, I'm part of the diversity inclusion PTA, and we're doing outreach to local orgs for performances. She did all the outreach, and I'm like, fuck, I need to use her for outreach and follow ups and stuff more because she did a fantastic job, which is now opening the doors for me to give her LinkedIn access, my email access, and hopefully, if I move invoicing off to a separate platform, she can start doing the invoicing and stuff for me too.
See, some of that like nuanced stuff there is like you mentioned the Figma stuff, like just setting up the template. The
Yeah.
amount of duplicated sheets and docs that I would have had to create without VA just makes me
Yes.
blow my mind. Like
Yeah.
I'd be so mad in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Like those repetitive things. She also, like, for a period before I decided to boycott Twitter, she was also taking any LinkedIn posts that I would do, she was taking and making it a shorter form and putting it on Twitter so that I could be like repurpose the content everywhere.
Yeah.
So she's doing that with some video stuff. We need to get back into it because I, again, am the bottleneck where I'm like, no, I want to review it before you post it, like on
Yeah,
Instagram or
me
something. And
too.
and now I'm like, fuck it. Like we don't review shit for Notorious B2B, and it's out there and it's fine. It's not the best. It's not like what we would put out there, but it's out there. And the video content is you and me. So like who cares what the caption is? So like I just need to be like, just fucking post it. Like I just you know what I mean? Like just do it.
Yeah. That's such a see that's such a and I think early on I was more perfectionist on some things
Yes.
where I would just again the bottleneck. I would just be the bottleneck and something wouldn't get out because I'd have to watch, I'd have to see the email before it
Yes.
goes out. I'd have to see the invoices, like check them all. And things are gonna get messed up. Like
Yeah.
there's invoices where she accidentally sent the wrong amount.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I happy about that? No. But like people really don't care that much sometimes.
Yeah.
They really don't care. Like they understand that mistakes happen. And if you can just offload this stuff, your mental kind of capacity just has such a big change. But I just want to mention this one because like sometimes it's like, what are those things? Like I feel like people want. So I have narcolepsy.
Okay.
Every quarter, so I have to take medication, and the
Yeah.
medication's like it's something you can't just like easily get. Like you have to go through all these processes.
Okay.
And since the vid, it's been on like back order. So you have to like every time I have to re-up it, I have to call like 10 pharmacies to see if they have it.
Yeah.
You know how much I hated doing that?
Yeah.
You know how much
And
I don't
that
have to do that anymore?
yeah,
It's amazing. She has
it is
it's all
amazing.
process like date calendar on the date. This is when I have to call the pharmacies. I have to find out which ones. She finds the ones that's closest to me where I can pick it up. She
Yeah.
emails my provider and then they send it there. Just all done. I don't have to worry about. I had to call before that. You know how annoying that was?
Yeah. So at first, my husband was very resistant to the VA thing. He's like, why do you need, like, you don't have that much to do. Why don't you just do it yourself? I'm
Nah,
like,
you
first of all, I
do.
do have a lot to do. But now he's known Rhoda for a year, right? Is
Hmm.
my husband using Rhoda? 100%. He's
My wife
using
does.
her. Yeah, like slide decks, any kind of like graphic updates. Sometimes it's just stuff like that where he's like, he just puts in all this info in a slide deck and he's like, can you just like juju this up for me? And she'll go in and do like a nice design and stuff like that. He either loves it or hates it because he's very type A perfectionist as well. But it still saves a bunch of like mental load and time. He hates being on the phone. And at
Hmm.
first he was like, no, I don't want her calling for us. You know how nice it is where he's like, can you just ask Rhoda to call the dentist? I'm like, oh, now you want Rhoda to call the dentist.
It's everything.
It's
And
everything.
and like you know how like there's some things where you're like on standby and like you're waiting like you can't get there
Yeah.
for like a few months, but like they have openings sometimes.
Yeah.
You guys like there was a time where I just had my VA call every day to see if something would open, and it did
Every
every
day.
day. You think I'm gonna do that? No shot.
No.
Now that's just personal stuff, but like you mentioned the slide decks. before, like for some clients, like I need to set it up so they can see these ads and they want to see the click-through rate and all that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
for each ad. And like to get them on like a slide deck is like annoying because you gotta like format it and like
yeah.
the spacing will annoy me. Now I just put them in each thing. Hey, can you go like make this look
Make it,
better? And
yeah,
then they like fix all the spacing. Like it's so much better. Like that stuff. And
yes.
they're not $15 an hour might scare some people, but I'm telling you, like, if you just calculate your hourly rate and then like,
Mm,
add on to it,
yes.
4x it if you want. I don't care. Or no,
Yeah,
not don't 4x it. Just keep it at what make it
yeah,
smaller if you want. If they can take that off your belt, take it off of you, it's gonna be so much better. Like you
yeah.
just gotta think of it like that.
I mean, you pay 15 an hour to I'm paying somewhere around 10, 11, or something like that. And you have the option of like how many hours too. And
Yeah.
so, like at first we were doing this like, hey, bank the hours, bank the hours. But I'm like, whatever. So she and I just have an understanding where it's like, sometimes we're going to be busy, sometimes we're not going to be busy. When we're busy, I'm going to like really need you, and she's never like, once you build that relationship, you just kind of get each other, and she knows she has a lot of downtime and she's not going to hear from me for like long periods of time, and then suddenly I'm going to come guns blazing with something. Like she understands that's the nature of our work, and it's been fine. But the way, for me, it's really hard to justify every expense, right? Because I'm bargain bober, I think through everything, like whatever. And like I'm not as rich as you are at this point. I mean,
Yeah, all right. All
different
right,
different
square
kind of
feet. All right,
different kind of
3,600 square feet over here.
Okay, first of all,
Three
in
cleaners.
Ohio. Okay, whatever. So, but like for me, I looked at it as like, okay, I'm spending, in this case, like $150 a week is what I pay her. And so what is that? What is it? 600,
600,
600 a month.
18,000 a year.
600 a month. No, 12, isn't it 1200 a year?
No, you are not paying 1,200 a year.
Wait,
It's
not
yeah, it's
1200,
6,000 a
12,000, I
year.
mean.
It's 12,000. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Is it 12,000 a year?
No,
We're so
it's
bad.
no, it's 18,000.
Is it 18?
No, it's 8,000. 86.
Oh
It's
my God.
9,600. It's 9,600. So dumb. Yeah, it's 9,600.
It's 7,200.
Oh, fuck's sake. All right, whatever. I spent 52,000 last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You spend a lot of money. Obviously, you're giving them a lot more to do. I spend 7,200 a year. Say, just we'll round it up to 8,000, bonuses, that kind of shit,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay. So say at 8,000 a year. And then I look at like my landing page deals or like whatever. And so like financially, you're going to look at it and you look at money differently, which is why I'm saying don't like go solo and 2 months later feel like, oh, I'm gonna need a VA.
Yeah.
Like let it come naturally. And when you like, as time goes, you'll look at money differently. And then you'll be like, okay, 8,000 for me to have some help, for someone to take some mental load off, totally worth it. Because if my one engagement is this much, or this is how much I make a month, like I could pay, for her for the whole year, whatever, with that. So you have to like kind of balance and think about that as well. And obviously just be really kind and good to them also. Like that also produces good work. Happy workers, they do work well.
So
Okay.
I want to make a note. So like that's exactly how I thought of it. So like for me, it was all right, client on average like 5,000 a month, let's just say. And when I started off with the VA, it was like 300 a week because it was 20 hours a week. So 1,200 a month. The question in my head was, can the VA help delegate enough time that I can either get a new client? So math is easy there. 5,000, 1,200.
Yeah.
If she goes full time, that's 2,400. I still make double of what that is.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's obviously, for me, I know it's not perfect science, but I went from like 4 clients to 7 clients capacity. And I would not say it's not like, I think the VA's helped a lot with that. So like the math works tremendously
Yes.
there.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So that's where, again, you look at money differently, you'll be able to, spend differently. Now,
And it's a write-off.
okay. Yeah, but it's not free.
It's free. It's basically free.
Okay, so we answered when do you need one? Just wait a little while, do all the shit yourself, be extremely annoyed, and then, start
Yeah.
documenting all the things that you would feel comfortable at first delegating out, and then go on a search. There's tons of VA agencies. You don't have to do magic. There's another one I can't remember off the top of my head There's also websites. I have other solo friends who have found their full-time employees, contract employees, whatever, and you can literally go. I can find the website too. It's escaping me right now, but you can go there, put a job description out, and they can actually apply and you can interview and all of that stuff. And it's all like Philippine
Thinking about Indeed.
talent. No, it's not Indeed, but it's like an
Thinking about
Indeed,
job
but
board.
it's kind of like a job board, but it's for the Philippines specifically.
Yeah, and there's it's not just like Philippines. I think is
One
one
of
of
the
those, but a
countries.
lot of them are. I'm trying to think of the other ones actually.
There's South
South
Africa.
America has a bunch too.
Yes.
I think Thailand.
South Africa, Philippines, South America. There's
Ooh,
quite a
this
few.
is something to bring up because obviously these countries are probably not in your time zone.
Yes.
What I've found is they just accommodate to the US.
Yes, they do.
They I personally don't care about the hours, so I'm like, if you get your things done, that's fine.
Yeah.
But for the V agencies, a lot of times they'll work within your hours,
Yes.
which is, for they're waking it's like midnight and they're working, they're working essentially.
Yes. And I will say this, which is you and I are pretty lax with the time zone. Like it doesn't matter. Our VAs naturally like try to work around the time
Yeah.
that we are up. But the VA agencies are far more strict about the hours because if you're like paying for 20 hours, they're going to be like, okay, your VA is available from 8 to noon every day. So that's some of the things we kind of also got away from by just hiring them by ourselves or like luring them out or whatever, doing shady shit. Not that my VA never really followed it, and I don't think yours either. But then they have to clock in and clock out, like at the
Yeah,
VA
yeah.
agency in their portal, and they always had to do it even though they work different hours for us. So that's another thing to keep in mind is there's like another restriction on them if you're working through like an agency.
It is a
Um,
restriction, but I would say, and I've learned this is because I would say like to my VAs, I was like, I don't care. I just don't care when you work, just get it done. And I would say make sure there is some overlap. I would really
yes,
encourage
yes,
overlap because I did not like it when I didn't have much overlap. Like
yeah,
I needed a few hours because you want some feedback, you want to give them feedback, you need to like when something comes up, you want to like, hey, I need this done
paying,
now
yes, yeah,
instead of waiting. There is that. Luckily, I have two, so like one works like 4 p.m. my time. Like it's perfect, right? I can get emails done that are like, oh, I have a
yeah.
client call at 3 p.m. Like I need this done. There was times when G was working like 11 p.m. my time to
Mm,
7 a.m.
yeah.
I can't. There's no overlap there. Like sometimes I had questions or like I need to give feedback. Like sometimes you need that. I would say leave some overlap. I think it's
Yes.
very helpful, especially early on. Like really, really early
Yeah.
on.
And I think the agency part is good until you find the VAs that you like, and then you can make other
I would start
arrangements
with
if
V. I
you're,
would start with an
but
agency.
I would
100%.
definitely start with an agency because they have access to a lot more people. I wanted to make this note about an agency though, because in the beginning you were like, oh, the trust thing, whatever. But I remember asking the agencies, I'm like, well, do you do like what happens if I give them access to something and like they steal or they want like, are there any repercussions? Do you have any liability or liability insurance? Like, how does that work? They do not. So just FYI, they are very like magic was
Mm,
like we do background checks but we can't guarantee if they take something like we are not responsible. We'll like try to find them and stuff like that, but they're not going to be like they're not liable. They will not reimburse you, none of that, because that was my biggest concern. So they said you need to operate on your own judgment in terms of how much access you would give to them.
hmm.
And that is why it took me a long time to give access to anything. Did you have a different experience?
I'm pretty sure they said they had insurance for that.
They might have insurance, but they said that they were like not
Maybe I didn't
responsible.
pry.
Maybe you didn't pry. I pried.
But the reason I would get an agency is obviously they do the vetting for you. Awesome.
Yes.
But to your experience, and I think you waited too long to do this,
I did wait too
is
long.
if you don't like the person, it just doesn't work out, be quick to tell
Yes.
them because they still want their money. Like they want you to
Yes.
stay,
Yeah.
right? And so they're going to find you someone else. And those things work all the time. Like people hire VAs and they stop. And so good ones will come up or they'll have time available
Yeah.
and they'll find you someone. They'll actually find you someone better because they want you to stay. They're really into like
Yes.
obviously keeping you.
Yeah.
Just do it
And
fast though.
they did find someone better. Yeah, I waited way too long for that to happen. I should have done it sooner, but then I was matched with someone that was already way better. a way better fit for me. And
Yeah.
so, that just ended up being, and now I've worked with her for a year and a half. And also I ask her things like, what do you want to work more on? Because like sometimes they're like very eager to please, where it's like, oh, I'll do anything you want me to do. But I'm like, what do you like to do and what do you feel like you're good at? Because I would then lean heavier into those tasks because I have plenty of that. So if she's more comfortable with like social posts, not that I would ever have her write for me, but like the repurposing and posting stuff,
Hmm.
I just give her a lot more autonomy with that. But she made like a content calendar and stuff for once, and like, all this stuff because she likes that stuff.
And
Okay.
you'll find out. You'll find out what they're better at. Like, because I have the two. I know one's better at
Yeah.
one thing, certain things. One's better at other things. It's just like, and actually, I was surprised how both of them are pretty good at Canva. Like something about the Philippines, they're
Yeah.
just Canva heavy. Like they get it and they like create things and like gifts and they're like, oh, how did you even do that? Like, all
Yeah.
right, it's cool.
I remember giving Rhoda a few statistics, and she obviously has access to the bank of infographics I've created. So I'm like, here are my colors, you know that. Put these statistics in here so they look nice. And I put these numbers in there. And it was all Dream Data's graphics. She had
Mm.
made that graphic for me. I posted on LinkedIn, and that was one of them that had like 300 or 400 likes on it. And our buddy Chris Walker commented on it too. I mean, it was a negative
Who?
comment, but
Who's that?
oh, do we not know him on TME?
Oh, Frequency Boy,
Yeah, Chris Walker.
Mr.
Da-da,
Teddy Dosey.
da-da. She created a graphic so good it lured the shark. It was like chum in the water, you
You know
know.
what's funny?
What?
I said something, someone asked me a question recently, and I respond back because it was like around LinkedIn ads. And I said something about like the only thing I'd be worried about is like messaging around low frequency because of like but it was around like ABM
Yeah,
frequency, like ad
yeah.
frequency. And then I responded after that because I as soon as I wrote it and sent it, I was like, you know what I hate? That CW just killed this. I can't like I hate that I have to I can't say frequency anymore. He just
Yeah.
killed that vibe.
He
Done.
he did kill it. Okay. We mentioned that I waited way too long, right? To replace my first VA. What are some of the red flags so that people don't make that mistake?
If so, I'm a big believer in giving feedback, right? But like if you give them a task, so there's I would say there's two big things. One, and again, this kind of depends on your personality, but and you can be upfront with these people, with VAs. If I give you a task and I say like it's urgent, I mean like let's go, like let's do this now. If they are like just constantly, like if they do it once and they don't do it urgently and they're like they do it tomorrow, give them the feedback. But if it's like a recurring theme, that's a big red flag because they're not going to be good for you. Like if I say I need something urgency or ASAP, like that means this, right? I would say I'm bad at giving deadlines, but if they continue to miss deadlines, so like you should give deadlines, and to continue to miss those, again, give that feedback, but it's a big red flag they continue to miss those. Some people just don't understand deadlines. It's just a fact. Another one is if like they just don't respond to you. And I say this because they have multiple clients, right? And so like if they're supposed to be on when you're supposed to be the time frame and they're not responding, they don't give you an update on like why. It's just they're not employees. You're looking for admin tasks. You're looking for certain things. I'm not saying be mean. I'm not saying like they have to be online at certain times all the time, but if they're not responding, that's not good. And then there's actually a third one. Obviously just bad work. Like if you need and it might not be that they have bad work. It's just that like they're not good work for you. Like the reporting I mentioned for like if they can't do that over and over, that's not helpful for me.
Yes.
A lot of times it's not that they're bad at their job, it's that they're not the best fit for you because they don't understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah. So for me, I don't remember, it was so long ago and my memory is terrible, but I just remember it wasn't the responsiveness. She was very responsive, sure, urgent tasks, whatever. She just didn't get it. So, like, I would ask for stuff, and this is already when I'm kind of already cautious going in, that kind of stuff. And then I had your G as a comparison, who's like on the
Mm,
extreme end. And then I had D on my end. And I was like, okay, I would give her a task. And sometimes she would take very long to do something very poorly. So, like, I
mm,
had. I have generally high expectations of work, which I temper down because, the perfectionist in me. But like, for example, I said, hey, can you like put this it was like Graham had a VA for a period of time, and he admits even himself, he's like, the reason it didn't work out was because of me, not her, because I was just terrible at it. He had asked her to make these like travel arrangements, right? Like get him these flight options and stuff. She put this like beautiful, like brochure looking thing with like a freaking plane. I mean, it was like beautiful. Okay. And like with the flight options and the best option and all this stuff, you could tell she put a bunch of effort in it. And he was like, it just wasn't the right option. I'm like, look at how much effort she put into like making it presentable for you though. Like you could just give her feedback on it. I asked mine to do the same thing. And she took 4 hours. I'm like, dang, this is gonna be some baller ass research. It's gonna be great. She sends me a fucking Google sheet after 4 hours. I remember I showed it to you, and it was like literally 2 rows of stuff that she just like typed in there. And I'm like, what? No links, nothing. I'm like, what is this? And so at that point, I was like, you can sometimes there's iteration and there's feedback, but you can give feedback if someone's done a task like 60% and you're like, okay, I'm going to tell you how to get it 80%. But sometimes you just know when someone's giving it a 10%, how you would have to do more work to get them to a 60 than, you know what I mean? Like iterative feedback. I'm not going to iterate from 10% to 100% level. You kind of have to help me out here. Meet me in the middle somewhere, right? And that was just not happening. It was just a lot of that where I'm like, it's me doing a lot more management, and I can't have that. The other thing is, and I still get this now too, but like when I call my dentist and stuff back, or if like they call me and they're like, your assistant called, and like it was really hard to understand her, but like blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, like a couple of times I've gotten that.
I've never had that problem.
Never.
I've always got the, oh, you have an assistant? I'm like, yeah, what's up?
I know. They always like when I call all the PTA stuff that I was doing, all the orgs that I've talked to, it's like local. They're like, yeah, your assistant emailed, and it was like I had to do a double take to make sure. I was like, yeah, I know, it's kind of a big deal.
Side note,
yeah.
complete side note. I never did this, but this would be funny. Like if I have like doing something with a friend and like on the weekend or something, I might have my assistant call and be like, hey, just confirming we're doing dinner this Saturday. I think it'd be funny.
Oh my God, I should totally.
That'd be fun.
Some of my friends know I have an assistant. Some of the moms and stuff are like, oh, assistant. I should 100% do that. Have my assistant call some of my friends and be like, hey, just confirming lunch. Oh, that's such a power move.
That'd be so funny.
I'm so gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna write it down right now.
I might do it. I'm gonna figure out how to do it for a B2B event. We call Sahil.
Call Sahil. Oh, Sahil, no, he knows us too well though. He's like, did you just have your VA call? It's only impressive. It's only impressive to people who don't actually have VAs or like are in this world. Like that's.
Well, yeah, no, someone outside the world. I'm just trying to think of like a good. Like I think my friend, it's just hilarious for my friends.
Yeah, I have like a girls' night coming in like a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have Rhoda call and confirm it with Steph. She's gonna text me like, what just happened?
And you're bringing the veggie dip, Jerry?
Yeah. Just to confirm.
And what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Want to make sure you're
not wearing the same stuff.
Yeah, adhering to the dress code that we have at the event. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay.
Retention rate is already done, you know?
Yeah. Going solo isn't always easy. There are client wins, red flags, and moments where you feel on top of the world, and moments where you question everything. But for us, it's been worth it.
We're not selling you a dream. We're sharing real stories, real numbers, and the mindset shifts it takes to build your own thing, whatever that looks like for you. Subscribe to The Marketer's Exit and send it to a friend who's this close to making a move.